dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke, and I welcome you all to the MCGM's virtual classroom. My dear students, today in 9th Standards Political Science, we'll be learning the topic India's defense system. If you remember, in the last chapter we studied India's foreign policy, and in this lesson we discussed about the foreign policy of India and the points related with it. So, we have now understood that the primary national interest of a country includes defense from foreign aggression and internal unrest and keeping the borders safe. And for this, every nation creates a defense system at the national level. India has also created such a system. And in this chapter, India's defense system, we are going to understand its nature and study the challenges in front of the India's defense system. So, points which we are going to cover in this topic are: what is national security, ways to safeguard national security, India's security system, paramilitary forces, challenges to India's security, human security, and the last one, challenges to human security. Now, the first point, what is national security? Here now, we have to understand the concept of national security. The internal system is made up of sovereign nations, and even if they cooperate with each other, sometimes there are conflicts between these sovereign nations. And these conflicts may be due to different things. There are disputes between nations or boundaries, or sometimes it may be due to other regions. Here the first thing we are going to see, it may be due to the boundaries or because of not following the terms of international treaties, or constantly competing against each other and influx of refugees from neighboring countries. And whenever such a conflict of interest arises between nations, it is sought to be resolved by compromises and discussions. So, the first and the most important thing, कोई भी नेशन कभी भी ये नहीं चाहता है कि डायरेक्टली वार हो, क्योंकि वार में नुकसान दोनों देशों का होता है जिनके बीच में वार होता है, या फिर ग्रुप्स अगर नेशंस के होंगे तो नुकसान तो सबका ही होना है. As you can see on the screen, India map, that is disputed areas, and the Tigris river begins in the mountain of Turkey and flows south through Iraq, where it joins the Euphrates river. So, both rivers provide water for both drinking and farming, but water disputes between countries that share rivers. So, it is sought to be resolved by compromises and discussions. जो पहली बात की जाती है कि compromise किया जाता है कुछ ना कुछ, या फिर discussion किया जाता है उस problem को solve करने के लिए. But when such efforts are not enough to resolve the conflict, discussion करके compromise करके अगर ये problem solve नहीं होता है, then a nation may even think of war. And when a nation attacks another and challenges the sovereignty of the latter, then it endangers the security of the nation. And in such case, or in such challenges, if such challenges are created due to the military power of aggressive nation, if the next nation is aggressive and started attacking, then in any situation, a nation's first duty and responsibility is to keep the security system always well prepared and ready. This is called as national security. So not only it is its duty but its responsibility. हर एक नेशन की ड्यूटी है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि अपनी आर्मी को, अपने सिक्योरिटी सिस्टम को हमेशा अलर्ट रखा जाए, रेडी रखा जाए, वेल प्रिपेयर्ड रखा जाए, क्योंकि कभी भी अगर इस तरह का अटैक होता है तो अपने देश को उस अटैक से बचाया जा सके, उस वार में उस पर्टिकुलर कंट्री का ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा नुकसान ना हो. एंड दिस होल सिस्टम इज कॉल्ड द नेशनल सिक्योरिटी. Now the next point, ways to safeguard national security. National security is closely connected with geography. Now how it is connected with the geography? Because national security is more likely to be endangered by nations who are geographically closer. In geography you people already learnt about these, the neighboring countries of India. तो सबसे ज़्यादा खतरा जो होता है, डेंजर जो होता है, इट मे बी फ्रॉम द नेबरिंग कंट्रीज, एंड दैट इज वाई इट इज गिवन हियर दैट द नेशनल सिक्योरिटी इज क्लोजली कनेक्टेड विथ जियोग्राफी, बिकॉज national security is more likely to be endangered by nations who are geographically closer. A nation must assess the threat to its geographical boundaries and the source of that threat. And here you can see Pakistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Afghanistan, the neighboring countries of India. In order to keep this threat at bay, the nation has to increase its military might. मिलिट्री पावर जो है, मिलिट्री माइट जो है, कंटिन्यूसली उसे इंक्रीज करते रहना पड़ता है. द नेशन हैज टू यूज मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी टू प्रेडिक्ट द थ्रेट and to build weapon system and modernize and update the defense forces. These are the ways to safeguard national security. And then resolving conflict by taking recourse to war. Here you can see resolving conflict by taking recourse to war in order to safeguard national security brings internal peace into danger, and hence some nations try to get the support of other nations to manage the threat to their national security. And that is why it is very important to be alert and to be ready and to be prepared. और सिर्फ अलर्ट होने से, प्रिपेयर्ड होने से फ़ायदा नहीं है, बल्कि हमारी जो मिलिट्री माइट है वो भी बढ़ती रहनी चाहिए, उसमें मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी भी होनी चाहिए. नाउ द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, इंडियाज सिक्योरिटी सिस्टम. दिस para is given in our textbook and the questions based on it, that the read the following passage and answer the questions that follow. So you can do this by your own with the help of textbook. Now the next point, India's security system. India's security system includes the army, the navy and the air force. Army, navy and the air force, the three forces that defend the country. आर्मी है, नेवी है, एयर फोर्स है, ये तीनों देश को बचाने का काम करते हैं, डिफेंड करने का काम करते हैं. द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ प्रोटेक्टिंग द जियोग्राफिकल बाउंड्रीज इज ऑन द आर्मी. जियोग्राफिकल बाउंड्रीज को बचाने का काम आर्मी का होता है, वेयर एज द नेवी प्रोटेक्ट्स द coastline. The Air Force is in charge of protecting India's air space. The Ministry of Defense, here you can see, Ministry of Defense controls all the three forces, Army, Navy and Air Force. The Indian Army is very big. It is the world's 7th largest. हमारी आर्मी जो है वो बहुत ही बड़ी है और दुनिया की 7th लार्जेस्ट है. इट्स चीफ इज नोन एज द general. Chief of the army is known as the general. The chief of navy is known as admiral, and the chief of the air force is known as air chief marshal. And these three chiefs are appointed by the president. That is why there is no any kind of political interference in the appointment of these three heads of the army, navy and air force. Next point, in the India's security system, the president of India is the supreme commander of the defense forces. Supreme commander. The defense forces cannot take any decision about war or peace without the consent of the president, because the latter represents the civil power. And in a democracy, civil leadership is considered superior to military leadership, and this is the beauty of our democracy. Military power is not superior, but the civil leadership is superior, and that is why it is very important for the Indian security system that they cannot take any decision about war or peace without consent of the president. Many measures are taken so that all three defense forces in India's security system are adequately modernized, and for this research institutions have been set up. Many training institutes have also been set up in our country to train the personnel of all ranks of our defense forces so that they can perform their task competently. And for this, the National Defense Academy, which is at Pune, National Defense Academy, that is NDA, and National Defense College, that is NDC at Delhi. तो यहाँ से जो पढ़ के बाहर निकलते हैं वो आर्मी ज्वाइन करते हैं, नेवी ज्वाइन करते हैं. Now the next point, paramilitary forces. Very important. There are paramilitary forces to help the defense forces in India. They are neither completely military forces nor completely civil forces, and hence they are called paramilitary forces. इन्हें paramilitary forces क्यों कहा जाता है? क्योंकि वो completely civil force भी नहीं है और completely military force भी नहीं है. But paramilitary force is to help the defense forces in India. The main task of the paramilitary force is to help the defense forces, and in this the border security force, coast guard, central reserve police force, rapid action force are some paramilitary forces, and about these now one by one we will study in detail. Now, the first one here, the paramilitary forces responsible for the security of important locations, which includes railway stations, oil depots or water reserves. So, these paramilitary forces play a role in management of disasters, whether now or a natural or man-made disaster, and performs tasks like creating a sense of security in the minds of people. Here now, the first, the Coast Guard has been created to protect India's oceanic borders, and the Coast Guard carries out tasks like protecting the fishing occupation within Indian maritime borders, preventing smuggling along sea routes. Indian Coast Guard, here you can see. Next one in this, the Central Reserve Police, that is CRF. The Central Reserve Police Force helps the administration in various states to maintain law and order. विद इन स्टेट अगर कुछ इशू हो जाता है, कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है, तो उन्हें हेल्प करने का काम द सेंट्रल रिजर्व पुलिस जो है उनका होता है. नाम में ही है रिजर्व पुलिस. पुलिस अपना काम करती है, लेकिन जब इनकी ज़रूरत पड़ती है रिजर्व पुलिस की, तो उन्हें बुलाया जाता है. देन इन दिस द नेक्स्ट वन, the Rapid Action Force performs the task of bringing people's lives to normalcy by moving in quickly in incidents of threat to national security such as bomb blast or riots. अगर ऐसी कुछ सिचुएशन आ जाती है, तो ऐसी सिचुएशन में जो कॉमन लोग हैं उनको बचाने का, उन्हें सेफ प्लेस पे लेके जाने का काम जो होता है, वो सब रैपिड एक्शन फोर्स पे होता है. अगेन देयर इज इन द नेम रैपिड एक्शन फोर्स, जितना फास्ट एक्शन लिया जाता है बाय दिस फोर्स. एंड देन इन द पैरामिलिट्री फोर्स, NCC, that is the National Cadet Corps, has been established with the purpose of instilling among students the love of discipline and military training. Boy and girl students from schools and colleges can join the NCC. ये स्कूलों में एक डिपार्टमेंट होता है NCC का, जिसमें आप पार्टिसिपेट हो सकते हैं, जिसमें आपको ये सारी चीज़ें सिखाई जाती है, लाइक लव ऑफ डिसिप्लिन एंड मिलिट्री ट्रेनिंग. Then the Home Guards. The organization was established in the pre-independence period. Citizens can join the Home Guard and assist in the defense of the country. If you are interested, then you can join Home Guards. Any citizen, man or woman, between the ages of 20 to 35 years can join the Home Guards. This force has the tasks like maintain public security, supply of milk, water and other essential services during riots or strikes, to regulate traffic, to help people at the time of natural disasters like floods, earthquakes. So during natural disasters or any kind of riot, उसमें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा काम जो है ये इन पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस का होता है. Now the next point, challenges to India's security. We discussed about the nature of national security and the defense system of India, but there are some challenges also, and about that we'll discuss now. Right from the time of independence, Pakistan and China have tried to threaten India's national security, and there are several disputes between India and Pakistan. So this one is the challenge to India's security, which includes the Kashmir issue, disputes over river water sharing, the problem of infiltrations, disputes over the border. So India has continually tried to solve these issues through discussion and negotiations. Next point, India and China are important countries in Asia, and in 1962 we have had to go to a war with China, as China is trying to establish its own hegemony over countries that are India's neighbors. So there are tensions in Sino-Indian relations, and there is also a dispute between India and China over their borders, and nowadays also this thing is in news. अगर आप पिछले कुछ दिनों की महीनों की न्यूज़ निकाल कर देखेंगे, तो आपको ये जो नेचर है इंडिया चाइना बॉर्डर के टेंशन का वो समझ में आएगा, क्योंकि अभी भी कुछ डिस्प्यूट्स उसके बारे में चल रहे हैं. Then the next thing, India's security is not only threatened by outside powers but also from within, and in within it is not just the difference between external security and internal security that is important anymore. Then it includes religion, regionalism, several rebellion movements based on ideology, race, ethnicity, and economic inequality are creating instability. For example, Naxalite movement is a threat to India's internal security. तो एक साथ हमें बॉर्डर के बाहर के जो एनिमी होते हैं उनके साथ भी लड़ना होता है, उनके भी चैलेंज इंडियन नेशनल सिक्योरिटी के सामने होती है, और जो विद इन द टेरिटरी ऑफ कंट्री जो ये प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट करते हैं ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ डिफरेंट आइडियोलॉजीज, उनके साथ भी लड़ना होता है. एंड द नेक्स्ट थिंग, terrorism nowadays, which is the biggest challenge to India's internal security. It is a global problem and India is making efforts to end terrorism. Now next, human security. In the post Cold War, the concept of national security changed and became broader. National security is not just the security of the country but also of the people living in it. And because security is ultimately for the people, hence human security refers to human centric thinking. क्योंकि बॉर्डर से हम किसी देश को तो बचा सकते हैं, लेकिन अंदर जो प्रॉब्लम है उनसे अगर लोगों को खतरा होगा तो उन्हें भी बचाना ज़रूरी है. दैट इज़ व्हाट इज़ human security. In human security, it is expected that human beings should be protected from all sorts of dangers and they should be given the opportunities for education, health and development. The concept of human security also includes the idea that is a conducive environment should be created for everybody to live a respectable life by overcoming illiteracy, poverty, superstition, backwardness, etc. Human security necessitates the protection of the rights of minorities and weaker sections. So in human security, human being is at center and is at the important place. Next point, challenges to human security. The biggest challenge to human security is that of terrorism, because terrorism targets common people, innocent people. If you go through the history of terrorist attacks of our country, तो उससे आपको पता चलेगा, अगर आप न्यूज़ देखेंगे तो उनका टारगेट जो होता है हमेशा वो कॉमन और इनोसेंट पीपल होता है. And that is why it is the biggest challenge to human security. It aims at creating terror or fear in their minds of the common people so that they begin to feel insecure. And thus, in order to protect human security, it is necessary to put an end to terrorism. So, if you want to end terrorism, then it is very important to unite to end terrorism. Next challenge to human security, that is pollution and other changes in the environment have threatened human life. Diseases like AIDS, chikungunya, swine flu, Ebola have presented a big challenge. Protecting human beings from such diseases is also considered as factor of human security. And nowadays, example of coronavirus we can include in this. Not only any particular country बल्कि पूरा वर्ल्ड इस चैलेंज को फेस कर रहा है, which is challenge to human security. So the concept of human security, here you can see economic security, health security, environmental security, physical security, community security and political security. So in this chapter we have studied India's defense system. We have also tried to understand the change in the concept of security from national security to human security. Please subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications. So my dear students, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.